There's very little in life that's as rewarding as filling up your pantry shelves with things that you canned yourself. Whether that be foods that you grew in your garden or other things that you bought in bulk and canned, it's so nice to have the assurance of a full pantry and to have all the good foods that you know that your family will eat. Now, my root cellar shelves are looking a little bit bare, but that's just because it's just the very beginning of the busy canning season. And soon I will be adding more to this so that we can get it filled up and get it ready for the next long winter. So, right now it is rhubarb season, and I'm going to bring you along with me today as I can up some rhubarb and also I make a really delicious rhubarb dessert that you just have to try. So today I'm going to show you how I make my strawberry rhubarb pie filling, and we use this for a lot of things, not just pie. But first I start with filling up the water bath canner, and I don't actually have a water bath canner. I just use a really large stock pot and have a tray in the bottom so that the jars don't go all the way to the bottom. But you need to do that first and get your water boiling before you start making your canned food, or it won't be ready by the time your food is ready. So for this recipe, you just start with chopping up the rhubarb and putting that in another stock pot because the rhubarb needs to simmer for a little while before it's ready to go in the jars. Now, I don't have rhubarb in my garden this summer. Well, I do have rhubarb in my garden, but of course it's the first year that we planted it, so it's not ready yet. But I was lucky enough to be gifted a bunch of rhubarb, and we did eat some and enjoy it in some cobbler and in a cake recipe that I'm going to show you soon. But for the rest of it, I want to can it up so that we can enjoy it later in the year and throughout the winter and try to remember what summer used to feel like when it's 30 below outside. So once I get all of my rhubarb chopped up and put in my stock pot, I'm going to add a little bit of water to the bottom of the pan just so that it doesn't burn and get that turned on so it can simmer. I'm also going to add some calcium water and some lemon juice to this, and that's because I'm using Pomona's pectin to thicken it. I don't use any kind of starch or sure gel or anything like that in my canning recipes, so I'm going to go ahead and use the same pectin that I used to make jam to make this pie filling today. Okay, so for the life of me, I could not find my original recipe, which I know was out of one of the ball books, but now I can't find it. So anyway, it uses apples in this strawberry rhubarb pie filling, which seems a little odd, but it actually adds a really nice texture. So I'm just chopping up a couple apples to add into my mixture here, mostly because we have some right now and because it just kind of helps, like I said, add to the texture and give it a little bit more volume. So earlier this year, I actually got a really good deal on some organic strawberries, and so I cleaned them all up and put them in the freezer, hoping that I would get rhubarb later in the year to be able to make something with them, and I did. So here I'm just chopping up some kind of half frozen strawberries and sticking those in the mixture as well to simmer together. I really wish that rhubarb season was the same time as strawberry season. That would just make things so much easier, but it's not. So freezing things until you get something else to go with it is just kind of the next best plan. So I prefer not to use any regular sugar in my canning. I started doing that quite a few years ago. I either use just plain water or I use honey. So here I'm using honey, and you can see I'm just adding the pectin to the honey. That is how you use the Pomona's pectin. You need to add the pectin into your sweetener. So that's what I'm going to do here before I add it into the mixture that's on the stove. So just to note, with this type of pectin, you need to make sure that your mixture is simmering before you add it in, and then it needs to come back to a boil or a simmer before you can it up in your jars, and that will just help set the pectin to make it that texture that you want it to be. So once the mixture has come back to that simmer, it's time to can it up in some clean jars. So here I have my clean jars, and my funnel, and I'm just going to fill these jars up and leave a little bit, about an inch of headspace in these. Pie filling is pretty much always going to bubble and make a mess no matter what, no matter what type it is, but about an inch is good headspace. Random side note, I've started lighting a candle whenever I'm cooking in the kitchen, and I kind of like it. It's just kind of relaxing and makes what could be really dull just a little bit brighter. So after all the jars are filled, we just need to clean off the rims, and I just do that with a slightly damp rag. You're just cleaning off any excess food. Water doesn't make a difference, but any food on there will cause them not to seal. So after I've done that, then I can add on my lids and rims, and we just do those just not super tight. You don't want to over tighten them, otherwise you might get a false seal, but just tighten it. They call it fingertip tightness. I just kind of put it on and then give it one extra little twist, and that seems to work pretty well for me. So the perks of having a small kitchen with very little counter space is now I get to do this nice twisting workout and get the jars from the counter into the canner and work on my waistline at the same time. So I ended up getting 9 pints out of this particular recipe. I can this particular recipe in pint jars because we use it for things like yogurt or maybe empanadas. We don't actually use this one for pie. If I was using it for pie, I'd want to can it in a quart jar because that would be the right amount to put in a pie shell. All right, so once you've canned this for the appropriate amount of time for your altitude, I always turn off my canner and let it sit with the lid off for 5 minutes first, and then I take the jars out and set them on my canning quilt and then just let them sit. I've had really good success this way with both that fingertip tightness thing and letting the lid sit off the canner for 5 minutes. And again, all of my jars sealed today. So if you're having trouble with jar sealing, try those two things and see if they work for you. It's completely normal for this to separate when it's in the canner. All you'll need to do when you open it back up is just stir it up and add it to whatever dessert you like. All right, so now I'm going to use some more of this rhubarb to make our very favorite rhubarb dessert, and that is rhubarb buttermilk cake. This is the first rhubarb recipe that we make every summer. It's always a favorite in our house. I'm not sure why, but it's just delicious, and the little sauce that you make with it adds, it's like the cherry on top. It adds so much to it. But this is a really simple batter. The only special addition, of course, is the buttermilk, and that just helps keep it nice and moist and soft. And then, yes, it does have quite a bit of sugar in it. It is a rhubarb recipe, but it's balanced out by the rhubarb, so it doesn't get overly sweet. Again, you can see I just lit my little candle here while I'm baking. I don't know what it is about that, but it's just adding such a cozy feel to my kitchen. And I don't really have my kitchen finished yet. It's definitely not in the shape that I want it to be, but you know, time is not on our side at the moment, especially right now during a busy summer. So someday I will maybe get a remodeled kitchen, but for now I'm just doing little things like lighting a candle while I'm baking to make it feel more cozy and homey and just kind of more like me. So I'm not going to go over the full recipe on this video. I have the full recipe with all the ingredients and the instructions on my website, and I will link that in the description below so that you can go print it off and make it and enjoy it and tuck it away in your recipe book so that you can make it every year too. And just another side note that if you don't have fresh rhubarb, this recipe will work just fine with frozen rhubarb as well. You may need to adjust the moisture level in it just a little bit, or at least try to get the moisture out of your rhubarb since it tends to kind of release that after it's been frozen. But if you have some in the freezer, you can still make this recipe, and it's a great way to use it up because it does use a fair amount. And actually you can add more than the recipe calls for because more rhubarb is never a bad thing. All right, so my 9 by 13 pan broke, so I only have this roaster pan right now, which I lined with a piece of parchment. You can grease your pan if you'd like, whatever seems to work for you the best, and pour the cake in and just kind of smooth it out so it's even. It's a fairly thick batter, so it does need some smoothing out and evening before you stick it in the oven. Okay, so now I'm going to make that cherry on top, which is just a little bit of butter, cream, and some sugar to make a really yummy, sweet little drizzle that you can pour over the top. This kind of takes it from just plain cake to something really special. And you've got the sweetness from that, the tartness from the rhubarb. This cake is just super yummy, and it just seems like something my grandma would have made. This recipe, actually, I don't even remember where it came from. We've been making it for a long time, but it's one of our favorites, and I really hope you enjoy it too. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.